What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Ty from Ty Drives, and sitting in front of us is the all-new 2025 Nissan Kicks. And this one is in the SR trimmable, which is the most sporty and top-of-the-line trim of this all-new vehicle. And we're going to be taking a look at all the features that this Kicks has to offer. We're going to start on the outside. We'll then check out and see what's under the hood, see what powers the Kicks. We'll also check out the cargo area, the rear seats, and all the technology in the front seats. So this is going to be a full features review on this particular vehicle. Now, in case you're wondering how the Nissan Kicks drives, I am wondering the same thing. So, in a separate video, we are going to check out and see how the Kicks drives. Now, you can either wait to the end of this video where I provide a link to that very video, or just wait to the end of this one, and I will have a link for that. Let's get straight into it here with the features and these very cool looking headlights. Take a look at these kind of like bars that develop the LED daytime running lights. Now, speaking of LEDs, everything is powered by those very bulbs. As you can see, the headlights up top, high and low beam projector LEDs, and then you also have LEDs for the daytime running lights and the turn signals, and looks very cool, all illuminated. Now, taking a look across the front, we have a fully blacked out grille with the SR emblem and our Nissan emblem with the little camera at the bottom. This car does have the 360 degrees view camera system, as well as parking sensors in the front and the rear. And I think this is a pretty attractive front end of this vehicle. Definitely a kind of upright and vertical front end, but very cool styling elements. We have the deep blue metallic paint color on this car, and man, is it metallic-y. It's a very, very nice color. And we do have kind of this flat black that goes around the front, the bottom of the front bumper, up and around the wheels and down the side of the vehicle to protect that paint. Now, take a look at these wheels. Nissan has been kind of famous for having these kind of funky wheels, and this is no exception to that theory. Take a look at these 3-spoke wheels with these kind of rib patterns in the middle. Very cool looking. And wrapped around Bridgestone tires that measure up at 225/45. And these are 19-inch wheels specific to the SR model. Taking a look down the side, we have a bit of chrome trim at the top and some bright roof rails. And right at the base of our mirror, it says Kicks. As far as the features on the mirrors go, they do have cameras for that 360 camera view, and you also have blind spot warning as well. Smart key entry for both the front door handles, and a quick view at the window sticker reveals a $28,075 sticker price. Just a couple of optional extras on this particular car, such as the carpeted floor mats and a splash guards. And this one also is a front-wheel drive vehicle. You can get an all-wheel drive Kicks though. I like this area of the vehicle where they have this kind of quarter window that blends in and kind of makes the roof appear to be without a support, so it's kind of a seamless roof design. And very cool looking rear end. Take a look at these taillights back here, all LED units back here as well, for the tail lights, brake lights, and turn signals. Again, looks very nice, all illuminated. We have our Kicks logo, parking sensors in the rear. We also have a reverse camera right next to the trunk release and the Nissan emblem. And to finish it all off, we have a nice SR emblem back here too. And before we go any further, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my friends at Crabtree Nissan, who have kindly provided this SR for me to film today. And I wanted to ask you guys a question, the viewers. What do we think of the styling on the Kicks? I personally think it's quite the fun styled car. Let me know in the comments. Popping the hood on the 2025 Kicks, Nissan gives us one single engine option, and it's a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder with 141 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque. And you can choose between front-wheel drive, like this vehicle has, or all-wheel drive, which is a nice option. And everything comes hooked up to a CVT, or continuously variable single-speed transmission. Now, the engine doesn't have a cover over it like most vehicles have, so you can actually see the mechanical bits. You can see the intake is on the front, exhaust at the rear of the engine, and the hood is held up by a prop that comes up with the hood and mounts right down here. Let's take a listen to the engine from the outside, and we'll also see how the engine performs on our test drive. Let's take a gander at the rather roomy trunk in the Kicks. Now we could pop open the trunk using a little button right below the Nissan emblem. And all you need to do is lift it up halfway and it'll kind of open right up for you thanks to the struts attached to the trunk lid. Now, pretty big cargo area back here given the size of this vehicle. Lots of area lengthwise, also lots of area widthwise too, because you have these little cutouts for the wheels, but above the wheels they give you a bit more space. Now there's illumination to either side. There is cargo tie downs in the front and at the rear of the trunk. And now you also have these little cubbies to either side of the trunk floor. And in case you need even more space than this, you can see those little pins at the top of the seats there, and that is to fold the rear seats down at a 60-40 split. Now what's underneath the cargo floor? More storage. Take a look at that. Now, you do see a tire inflator kit right now, but Nissan does provide the option of a spare tire to you for, I think it's like $190, something like that. So if you want the extra peace of mind, get the spare tire. If you want more cargo space, because there is quite a bit more cargo space under there, then just leave it out and save yourself a couple extra bucks. Once you're done in the trunk, you can just grab the handle and close it right on down. It is nice and light trunk lid. Alright, let's get our first glance at the interior with the rear seats, where we have a charcoal cloth and leatherette interior with some nice kind of orange and white accents. Looks pretty cool. Materials back here are hard to the touch on most of the door, but where it counts on the armrest is nice and soft. It's almost like this carbon fiber weave kind of fabric material. Very interesting, but nice looking material nonetheless. We have our window switch up here, a bottle holder down below, and a 6-speaker audio system on this particular Kicks. However, if you want some more audio power, you can get a 10-speaker Bose audio system. The rear seats are quite nice looking, and the leatherette feels very close to regular leather. It definitely looks like real leather. And we have this pretty cool orange accented cloth in the middle. Lots of stitching on the seats. And as you can see, we could pull this little pin right here, and that will fold down our seats at a 60-40 split. And as you can see, that fold is flat with the cargo floor, so you can stick items in nice and easy. One more thing you can fold down is the rear armrest with a couple of cup holders, and that's a nice addition that some vehicles in this class do not have, believe it or not. Now I'm going to hop in and show you how much leg room I have. I'm about 5'10", and I adjusted this front seat pretty close to where I would normally drive. And I still have a couple of inches of legroom thanks to these cutouts in the backs of the seats. Now we do have map pockets in both of the front seat backs, also USB-C chargers, and a very small, I guess you could say, exhaust hump for the front wheel drive model. So if you had to fit 3 people back here, it wouldn't be too bad, at least legroom wise. Blind spot shouldn't be too big of an issue because you do have a little peephole right here for the quarter windows, and you have a gray cloth headliner, some illumination for back here, and a pretty good view at the front. Let's go check that out next. Okay, let's take a look at the front, where the materials do improve quite nicely. We do have some stitching up at the top and a soft leatherette material all the way down into here where your arm is. The rest of the door is kind of hard touch, but that's okay. What counts is where your arm is going to rest. Now we do have lock unlock controls, mirror adjustments, and your window adjustments there too. Bit of storage, another speaker on the driver's side. On the left of the dash we have an air vent with some more of that kind of cloth carbon fiber look material. Down here we have a couple of buttons for your lane keeping assist, auto start, stop, on and off. Then we also have a release for your tilt and telescoping steering wheel, as well as your hood, and some pretty nice looking carpeted floor mats. Our driver's seat is very comfortable and very appealing to the eyes as well, because you again have that combination of a leatherette and cloth, and this pretty cool little insert at the back of the seat. Now it is 6-way manually adjusting, so we have our height right here, backrest right here, and back and forth with that bar right at the front of the seat. But what do you say we hop in and check out the fantastic technology in this car? So here we are seated in the new Kicks. As we can see, a very nice dual screen setup, fantastic pair of screens in this car, great technology. But first off, let's check out the key. It is the newer style Nissan key with the lock unlock and the panic alarm with the little release for a physical key on the other side. But the push button start is right up here, and upon starting up you get this nice animation from that screen to that screen. Pretty cool looking. So, flat bottom steering wheel, nice thin rim, it's all leather wrapped, and it also has some orange stitching on the inside. And as far as functionality goes, we have all of our media over here, so volume and skipping between different radio stations. We also have a couple of buttons to configure this upper screen, which we'll get into in just a minute. We also have all of our adaptive cruise control settings and some safety warnings and things like that, voice commands and Bluetooth phone controls. Now off to the side we have a couple of stalks that control all of your headlights, your automatic high beams, and of course your turn signals. And to the other side we have our front and rear wipers. Now the gauge cluster screen is absolutely fantastic. I have fallen in love with this screen right here. I think it's almost kind of one of the best in the business. Now one thing some people might miss is you also have a plus and minus for the gauge cluster brightness up there too, so that's pretty cool. But the way you configure this screen here is using the back and forth, the rotary dial, and the little pages button here. So what we're looking at right now is kind of a simplified screen. So it shows you what gear you're in, your tachometer, your speed front and center, and your fuel gauge with distance till empty. But we could press in that scroller wheel and kind of adjust the look of these kind of settings right here. So we could go change meter view, and that'll kind of bring back the traditional, you know, rotary tachometer and speedometer. Still have your fuel gauge and temperature, coolant temperature off to the bottom there. Now if we go back and forth, we could see a bunch of different things here. Let's change it back to the kind of full screen view. Now this will show you your trip settings, so kind of a trip 1 and 2, very nice. Our auto start stop status, so it'll kind of show you how much you saved, and also your tire pressures. Going over, we have a kind of radio view, which is very cool. Kind of all your blind spot warnings, what's active, what has sound or anything like that. And you could scroll down to kind of see this lane keep assist view, which is very cool, and speed sign recognition. We could also change your audio source or go into your driver's assistance at any time by pressing this little page button here. If we move on over, we have some settings, and then we also have kind of back to a home screen. Now I also wanted to point out the size of this screen. I'm not exactly sure how big as far as like inches goes with it, but it is pretty big. It's a very big gauge cluster screen, so you can get a lot of information in there at once. Lots of different views. I really, really like that. Up here we do have a nice soft to the touch dashboard and a very nice looking touchscreen too. So let's take a look at some of the features of the touchscreen here. So we can kind of swipe from the top, get some quick information such as brightness and audio settings. We also have some kind of shortcut buttons over here for notifications, going back to home, music, CarPlay, and also your climate control. So let's take a look at that climate control screen. Now we have one single zone for the climate control, but it isn't automatic. You can also adjust where the air blows, AC settings, all that good stuff from the screen. But you do have a, I guess, somewhat physical set of climate controls down here for pretty much everything. Going back to home, very nice looking home screen, very appealing to the eyes as well, this screen. So we can kind of go into the audio right here. We have your sources up top, what's playing in the center, and your presets right there. And it looks like we have quite a few pages of available presets, so that's pretty cool. Going back to home, we have our phone screen, connections, which has to do the wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then we also have a nice clock with our time and temperature there, or I should say time and date. If we move over, we have a kind of a user's mode, so we have multiple people driving the car. They have different preferences, so you could input them. And then we also have some more information, which has to do with like notifications and settings and things like that. I did connect my phone to the wireless CarPlay, so I wanted to give you a look at what that looks like. Looks pretty awesome. It takes up the entire screen and looks pretty darn cool. And going back to the Nissan system is as simple as just pressing the home button there. Now taking a look down below, we have a couple of air vents and a couple of buttons here too in between the air vents for your hazards. Then we can also bring up your cameras at any time too, which by the way, this has the 360-degree view camera system, which you saw all the cameras on the outside. What we're looking at right now is the front-facing camera and the top-down, and the screen is nice and big, so the camera views are also nice and big. Now you kind of press that to get different views, so the kind of side, the curb view over there, and also a big front view, so that's pretty cool. Skip between different radio stations and a volume knob right in the center there. And let's take a look at our climate control. So they're somewhat physical, but they're kind of like a touch-sensitive button for all of your climate controls down here, which is a pretty cool solution because it works good. It does respond to every touch you make and doesn't fumble around or anything, or kind of you mistake hitting something like a touchscreen. It's still somewhat physical buttons. So we have temperature, fan speed, defrosters, and on and off button. But the only thing you have to go through the screen to do is kind of adjust where the air comes out, so defroster's head or your feet. Now down here, small array of buttons, which I like next to the shifter, so if you ever have to get in your car and just go, we have the start-stop button right here. We have the parking brake and our shifter all in very close proximity, so you can go 1, 2, and then 3 right into drive. We also have an auto hold features in case you're at a stoplight on a hill, so you can take your foot off the brake. We have a wireless charging pad down here too with 2 USB-C connections. We also have a driving mode selector, which you could cycle between sport, standard, and eco, which is pretty cool. And of course we have our shifter. Once you put it into reverse, your backup camera will pop up with the 360 camera. Now the camera isn't all that clear. It's not like a super like the clearest backup camera in the world, but it does work just fine. The 360 view looks good. Nissan's been doing that for years now. Then we also have neutral and drive. Down here we have a set of very deep cup holders, so that'll hold your biggest Starbucks drink. And we have a nice soft armrest which lifts up, and we have a little 12-volt power outlet. Not a whole lot of storage in there, but it is a little bit, maybe might be big enough for a small set of sunglasses. And in the passenger area, we have a full-way manually adjusting passenger seat and some nice accents to look at, kind of that carbon fiber kind of cloth, some stitching, and up top we have our visors, which have the mirror, light, and card holder, and a pretty roomy glove box, kind of the storage that you don't have in the center console definitely makes up for it in the large glove box. Taking a look up top, we have some LED illumination, as well as a sunglass holder, our passenger airbag status, and a manually day and night mode dimming mirror. And that pretty much does it for all the features on the Nissan Kicks for 2025. And again, it is an all-new vehicle, very nicely redesigned, and again, very premium feeling for the price. Make sure you join us for our test drive, which that link should be popping up right down here. And I appreciate each and every one of you for watching.